It's 2002. Bionicle is entering its second year, and our heroes the Toa have been very busy. They've battled Rahi, collected masks, defeated the mysterious Shadow Toa, and even vanquished the big bad, Makuta. Surely it's time for a rest. Well, no, it turns out that Makuta wasn't too happy about being defeated. He's awoken the Pahrak twins, two enormous insect queens who have promptly unleashed a deadly swarm of minions to destroy the island of Matanui. Yes, 2002 is the year of the Bohrok. So, the Bohrok here are the first real bad guy sets of the Bionicle line. We had the Rahi, but they were more just wild animals for the heroes to fight than true rivals. The Bohrok here are perfectly designed to stand opposite the Toa. They hit shelves at the same price point, in similar canisters, and came in the same 6 flavours, showing the same colours, concepts and elemental theming that made the heroes so successful. They scale up nicely, and they even have action features to make them uniquely equipped to battle the Toa, but more on that later. In fact, LEGO nailed the villain formula so well that it would remain largely unchanged for the following years, with Bohrok Kal, Rakshi, Vizrak, Vaki, Paraka and even the Baraki all designed around the same core principles. So, the canister, similar to the Toa canisters, but a different shape, a little bit less round this time. There's some nice art on the front, information around the back, and inside lots of pieces. Almost entirely new, aside from a few Technicaxles. There are feet like smaller Toa feet, lots of new body parts and limbs, there's a nice marbled canopy, some weapons, and a little rubber piece, which is an important part of the Bohrok's gimmick, so we'll be looking at that shortly. There's also a specialised rubber band for the action feature, which hasn't been seen since 2007. There's even a little plastic clip which can be used to suspend your Bohrok inside the canister once it's built. Now, you may think LEGO's being generous with all these new parts, but every Bohrok is completely identical apart from the weapon piece and the colours. There isn't even any variety in the build process, so once you've built one, you know exactly what to expect from the others. So, here he is built, set 8565, Kohrak. The design is quite different to the Toa, but still recognisable as part of the same universe. The Bohrok all share the same colours as their Toa counterparts, and Kohrak here lifts his straight from Kopaka, right down to the icy blue eyes. Interestingly, Kohrak are the only Bohrok to share the same eye colour with their Toa counterpart, since the other 5 all have new colours to better complement their palettes. There's posability in the ankles, hips, shoulders and wrists, and inside the head you can see a Krana, which are little rubber masks, kind of like an evil version of the Kanoe that the Toa wear. It's the brain of the Bohrok, and the Bohrok can't function without one. Kohrak here comes with a light blue one, but each Bohrok has a different colour, as do the Bohrok Var and the Bohrok Kal. So, in the storyline, the Bohrok can use their Krana to take control of any Matoran that get in their way. Even the Toa aren't safe from being mind-controlled, although they can resist a little bit better than the average islander. But the Krana needs to attach to a character's face before it can take effect, which means the mask needs to come off first. And that's where the action feature comes in. Around the back is a button that operates the Bohrok's neck mechanism. You press it and the head snaps forwards. It is a powerful, aggressive movement, and if you can catch a Toa by surprise, like Lehvak here, that mask comes right off. Without his mask on, Lehvak is vulnerable to the next stage of the attack. The Bohrok's head shield opens up, and with another press of the button, the Krana launches towards its new host. You need to use a little imagination to get it attached, but once it's in place, Lehvak's not himself anymore. He's under the control of the Bohrok hive mind, which opens up whole new play opportunities for Toa versus Toa action. Or maybe it doesn't. Poor Lehvak was always getting possessed in the storyline, either through infected Kanoe or Krana or Antidermis. At this point it seems to be his main character trait. Perhaps this time the other Toa just roll their eyes and let him get on with it. Anyway, back to the Bohrok. They have one last play feature, which is their ability to roll into a ball. The arms and legs tuck in, just like those destroyer droids from the Star Wars universe, giving them a speedy way into or out of battle. Next up we have set 8563, Tahnok. This is the fire-themed breed of Bohrok, with a colour scheme almost identical to Tahu. These guys can use their fire shields to melt through anything in their way, and they were responsible for the attack on the village of Pokoro, prompting a mass evacuation as the villagers fled from the destruction. So, I mentioned earlier that the Bohrok are all built the same way, and as you can see, Tahnok here is basically identical to Kohrak. Same construction, same action feature, just a new colour scheme and a different weapon. It's not super exciting, but unfortunately LEGO kind of had their hands tied here. Those action features force the body to be built in a specific way, so without engineering a ton of new parts, there's just not much room for variety. It still feels like a bit of a missed opportunity though, especially considering that the Toa designs managed to shake things up while pulling their parts from a shared pool. Even the Turaga have a surprising amount of variety considering how few pieces they use. And here he is up close. You can see the Krana for Tahnok is dark blue to match his eyes. You might also notice that the design is different this time around. There are 8 different designs, and it's entirely random which one you receive. There's the Krana Tsar, which is for swarm commanders. Bohrok with this Krana act as strategists and lead the Bohrok swarm on missions. It's the most prominent of the 8 designs, being depicted on the mask packs and on most of the artwork. Then there's the Krana Zar for squad leaders. This one grants telepathy and provides a mental link to the other Krana. Or maybe you'll get Krana Vu for surveyors. The Vu allows the host to fly short distances and cross gaps or bodies of water. There's Krana Jar for scouts. It gives radar abilities that can be used to detect distant obstacles. Or Krana Bow, which is for sentinels, and grants infrared vision, which is ideal for underground operation or night guard duties. Krana Su is for worker Bohrok. It grants great strength and endurance. And Krana Yo, the mole Krana, allows its host to tunnel through any terrain. And finally there's Krana Ka, the clearance Krana, which allows for defensive shielding. This particular Tahnok came with a jar, so I guess he's a scout. And if you want to collect the Krana, you're in for a challenge. With 8 designs and 12 different colours, 18 colours if you count the Krana Kal, it's not going to be easy. Anyway, here is Tahnok with Tahu. They're almost identical in terms of colour, although Tahnok has blue eyes instead of Tahu's trans pink. Next up is set 8560, Pahrak, the Bohrok of Stone. These guys have a brown and tan colour scheme with green eyes and Krana. In the storyline, Pahrak attacked the coastal village of Gahlok, where the Gahlokrians, along with refugees from other villages, mounted a last stand against them. After the bridge to the village was destroyed, the Pahrak used Krana Vu to glide over the water and continue their attack. And they would have been victorious too if the Toa hadn't managed to defeat the Barag at the last possible moment. Pahrak's hand has seen the most reuse out of any Bohrok weapons, coming not just in brown but also black, silver, red and blue. Next up we have 8564 Lehvak. This breed of Bohrok is mainly green with red eyes and red Krana. The hands, or shields on this one, feel a little bit awkward. Since LEGO only took the time to sculpt one hand piece, the same piece gets used on both sides. It's not a problem for the other Bohrok, who have mostly symmetrical pieces, but Lehvak here has a hand that's very definitely not symmetrical. It makes it look like he's got 2 left hands, or 2 right hands depending on how you look at it. Anyway, in the storyline, Lehvak can shoot acid from their claws, dissolving anything in their way. Lehvak attacked Lehkoro, enslaving almost the entire population, including Turaga Matau. Congo and Tomorrow were the only villagers who managed to escape, but even Toa Lewa was captured after he chose to surrender rather than be forced to fight against his former friends. Next up, 8562 Gahlok, the Bohrok of Water. These guys have a suitably aquatic colour scheme, with shades of blue for the body and limbs, along with orange eyes and Krana. Their water shields allow them to channel the element of water, which means they can launch jets at their enemies and swim at great speed. In the storyline, a group of Gahlok attacked the underground village of Onukoro, flooding the caverns and driving the villagers above ground. This wasn't entirely bad news though, since the villagers managed to capture one of the Gahlok and convert it into the Boxsaw, a powerful weapon to drive back the swarm. And finally we have 8561 Nuhvok. These earth-themed Bohrok are skilled tunnellers and are at home underground. Their vision is sensitive to bright light, but they can still function above ground in dark areas like canyons or forests, where their strength in close quarters combat comes into play. After Lehkoro fell to the Lehvak swarm, a group of Nuhvok were stationed to guard the village, although they were defeated when Kongu returned with the Boxsaw squad. And here's Nuhvok with Onua. Nuhvok switches up the dark green of Onua's eyes for the neon green that was originally used for Lewa. It's a good choice, and the eyes really pop against the otherwise dark colour scheme. So, that's the 6 Bohrok, but now we need to look at the Krana. I mentioned earlier that each Krana can be found in a number of colours, and just like the Kanoe masks, hunting for these things was built into the storyline. The Toa needed to collect 48 Krana, 8 from each Bohrok breed, and place them into special slots in the middle of their underground nest. This would unlock the hiding places of 6 Exo-Toa and the inner layer of the Barag, and only once the Barag were defeated would the Bohrok shut down and the island finally be safe. So, if you want a full set of Krana for your collection, one option is to hunt down 8 of each Bohrok and hope you get the 8 different Krana. What could go wrong? They are supposed to be a swarm after all. But back in 2002, the more sensible option for Krana collectors was to buy the mask packs, which contained a selection of Krana along with the new gold and silver Kanoe. To be honest, I think most people were more interested in the gold masks, with the main focus being on collecting a set of those rather than trying to hunt down all 96 Krana. But Krana hunting is still a real pursuit for some people, and although it's much easier nowadays with the arrival of Bricklink and other online sellers, a full collection of 144 Krana and Krana Kal is still one of the more difficult grinds in Bionicle. Anyway, there we have it, a quick review of the Bohrok. Despite their repetitive builds, they're still neat little sets, and I'm really happy to have them. So I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I'd love to hear your own Bionicle stories. So click that like, leave a comment, and maybe even think about giving that subscribe button a little click for more content. Ta-ta!